One of the first and most important pieces of equipment you're going to need to get is a wrist strap. And this is to protect your wrist. When you're boxing, there's a risk of hurting your wrist. So if I punch incorrectly, my wrist is going to get bent down or bent up or even to the side this way. And I also want to get a little extra padding between my knuckles and the target I'm going to be striking. So to protect the wrist and also protect the knuckles. Now there's a variety of wrist straps. This is a springy one. It's called a Mexican hand wrap. Okay, it's slightly elastic. This is the one that we prefer, but there's also a linen one, and it's a little bit stiffer, and it's just a matter of preference. This is 180 inches in length. I recommend you get a wrist strap that's 180 inches in length. Now, follow along with me. Get your wrist strap. Identify where it's going to say. Most wrist straps say this side down. Okay, so you do at the end when you attach the Velcro, it's going to be in the right position. So there's a little loop here for your thumb. Place that over your thumb this way. Okay, come back across the wrist. Now we want to start slightly below the wrist, about one wrist strap distance below the wrist. I'm going to go around about 3 times. Okay, this will be 1. Okay. This will be 2, right? And kind of securing a good base. Now don't wrap it too tight, just slightly snug. See, I'm not really pulling. It's laying flat, but there's no extra space there either. And then I come around a 3rd time. Okay? And when I come up this way, I'm going to go back along the back of my wrist. Now, this is when it's important to keep your wrist bent slightly backwards. That will overcompensate for when your wrist bends down. So keep it bent back a little bit this way. And also keep your fingers spread. You want your fingers spread apart. This is going to keep it so that your wrap doesn't get too tight. Okay. I'm going to come back across the wrist again. Now I'm coming from a different direction. As I come underneath, I'm going to go around the thumb this way. Once I go around the thumb, I'm going to continue back along the back of the hand. At this point, I'm going to come back and go along the wrist again. And I'm going to wrap the thumb from the other side. So I'm coming back to here. And I'm going to lay it back along the wrist. Take the wrist strap up and go between the fingers. I'll start between the 2 small fingers. Back around. Now, at this point, I want to clench my fist. That way I'm not going to be wrapping too tight, and I can feel that it's going to be snug. I'm going to come up again. Right? Flatten out the wrist wrap. Okay. And one more time. Like this. Okay, and we're going to secure around the wrist. This is going to be added support. I'm going to come up over top of the hand again. Go around the knuckles here. This will give me a little bit added padding that I'm looking for. Bring it back across the wrist again. Now you can see the Velcro. Okay, this is the hook part, or the loop part. I'm going to come around. All right, just kind of make sure it's nice and snug. And get a nice final attachment right there. So that's how my wrist strap looks. Look at it from the front. This would look like underneath. Okay, so I make a fist. I have a nice strong fist. And again, I got a little bit of padding on my knuckle, but the main purpose is to keep my wrist from bending down. In fact, it's kind of difficult to do so with the wrist strap, and that's important. Particularly as I get fatigued, I'm going to be hitting the bag for several rounds to develop my endurance, and I may get a little tired. I don't want to make an error, and then my wrist bend down. This wrist strap that we're using is for training purposes. It's made out of linen or a spongy material, and it's meant to protect you when you're training. When you go to do a competition, your trainer's going to wrap your wrist with gauze, and he's going to secure it with tape. And he'll know how to do that. This is just for training, but this is very important. Make sure you have a good wrist strap before you start your training. That concludes this lesson. Thank you for joining our videotape series on Ultimate Boxing. Remember, to be good at boxing, you got to train regularly, train hard, and keep an open mind.